Hi, welcome to US Business News. I'm your host, Tisha Powell. Today's Money Talk, digital asset, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the #1 cryptocurrency in the world with $1 trillion in value. It means that people are going to get rich. Is Bitcoin now in a boom or bust? Let's analyze it together, shall we? So, as you can tell from the chart, the 2017 is when Bitcoin was grafted. Now, how can we trust this chart? Because this is the same chart we use on Wall Street when we are doing stocks, real estate, and commodities. This is what we use, people on Wall Street, the candlestick. So I'm going to explain to you how candlestick work and whether Bitcoin is in a boom or bust. Right now, I'm predicting as a former Wall Street attorney that Bitcoin is up, going up. I told you that last week. Subscribe so you can know more. I told you last week when Bitcoin was at 30,000 that it would go up, and it did. It's now at 31,000 this moment in time. Now, how could I tell that? It's not rocket science. If you look at the chart, you will see resistance and support. I told you, just think about it as your weight. My resistance is 125 pounds. Somehow I'm not able to go under 125. Everyone on earth has a resistance and support, okay? That's just how numbers work. So Bitcoin has a resistance and a support, as we can tell, between 15,000, it's comfortable there, investors are, and 60,000. That's where investors are. Bitcoin broke through within the year to 69,000 and then it crashed. So you've got to understand every asset class, real estate, stock market, commodities, they have booms and busts. That is how it is. There's no manipulation. It's just the way the cycle is. That's why some people are getting rich from Bitcoin and some people are going broke. Okay, because Bitcoin cycle works like the real estate cycle, that works like the stock market cycle, that works like any cycle that has value. It goes up, down, boom, bust, okay? The real estate market, it burst 3 times in the United States within the last 30 years, the residential. Now the commercial real estate is getting ready to burst. That's just how it is. The candlestick predicts it. We don't. We just read the candlestick, okay? That's the only job we have, is to read the candlestick and then make a prediction based upon that. Of course, even though we make a prediction, government regulation changes the candlestick, an act of God as well, okay? So even though you and I can predict a candlestick to the T, if their nature changes tomorrow, let's say there is a hurricane somewhere, earthquake somewhere, it's going to like move the market. It's going to shake the market, and whatever the candlestick does don't matter anymore. Okay? Or let's say government files a lawsuit. Doesn't matter what the candlestick said, it doesn't say. So government manipulation changes the candlestick. This is why people say, do not put your eggs in all one basket, because even though you and I predict exactly where Bitcoin is going, government can change that by manipulating it, okay? So that's what happens. Government comes in, they can crash a market, okay? So you don't go in with more than probably 1 or 5% of your disposable income. That's how I like to tell people. You do not put your eggs in all one basket. Bitcoin is only used to help you to hedge against the inflation, and you can make money with since it's going to be a boom market in the next 2 years. Okay, what else is pointing to a boom market? Well, in 2022, Bitcoin had a bust. It went from 69 and it went down, okay? So is it going to go down again? Hardly likely, because the United States isn't suing Bitcoin for, the SEC is not suing Bitcoin. And Bitcoin got registered now, and Bitcoin is seen as a commodity. So we know that the biggest countries that need Bitcoin, United States, it's not suing Bitcoin, okay? We also know that Bitcoin is here to stay. It's a digital asset. So for everyone who is trading, whichever country you're in, there's a Bitcoin in the account, whether you live in Germany or whatever country in the world, you have to get an accountant, because your some point, all governments all over the world, they're going to recognize cryptocurrency, not all the cryptocurrency. They're going to recognize Bitcoin, YouTube channels, Facebook. They're going to recognize all this internet stuff that is paying you money or has value as a digital asset. And because they're going to recognize it as a digital asset, you will be taxed on it. You and me and the whole world. This is just what the world is coming to. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay, and Bitcoin is the #1 cryptocurrency, and it's here to stay. So Bitcoin had a bust in 2022. So every 4 years, something happens with Bitcoin, or every 2 years. Boom or bust, boom or bust. So everybody's projecting a boom between 2023 and 2024. Most people from Wall Street, not everyone, most people from Wall Street are predicting that Bitcoin is on a boom based upon the candlestick. Just look at the candlestick. It's on its way up. Last week it was 30, this week it's 31. It's moving very little, so you're not going to get rich overnight with it. So if you go from 31 to 32, you're not going to get rich. Oh, but I'm going to bet my whole house on it. That's a foolish move, because what if some government regulation comes in? You see what I'm saying? Put a little in, put a little in. So what are people going to do? They're going to ride the market up to the next resistance. What's the next resistance? 60,000. So investors are going to set it right now, and they're going to take profit at the 60,000, because 60,000 is the next resistance of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin pushed through the 60,000, which we anticipate it will do between 23 and 24, and it hits 69 again, then it's going to break the resistance of 60. If it hits 69, dip it, dip, dip, dip. Okay, so that's how we know. The resistant break, now we know on Bitcoin, is also at 30. So we know Bitcoin low is between 15 to 30, but we know that it broke. We know that it crashed in 2022. So we know it's low now. Bitcoin is a good value now, this moment in time, because it is at its low. So now a lot of investors are coming in, and they're going to ride it up till it's at 60. So that's what people are going to be doing with Bitcoin. What for some write up, that's a boom. That's exactly what it is. And they'll take their profit at 60. Why do we think that Bitcoin still has good momentum to have a bullish and not a boom? Why do we think Bitcoin is at a and not a bust? Because every 4 years, the miners are rewarded. The next time the miners will be rewarded is 2024. That means that Bitcoin has momentum going in 2024. So it's not anticipated to have a markup of a bust. So also common sense. Not all markets are going at the same way. Every candlestick is different. We know commercial real estate is on a bust. We know Bitcoin had a bust in 2022. We know that residential real estate in the United States had a boom. And so you can see the cycle. Whenever a market breaks out into a boom or a bust, that is when it creates the rich people. That is how it works. As you could tell, why did hedge funds buy in 2020 term? When it is a bearish market, you buy and you hold long term. I know everybody said, I'm going to ride it when it's going up. Most people set it at 500 and forget it. Okay, they set it at 31,000 and forget it. Well, I was one of the ones that bought in 2020. Why did all these hedge funds and myself bought real estate in 2020? Because we read the candlestick, we ran the candle chart, and also too, we noticed that the US dollar was dying. So we bought real estate in 2020 and we doubled. Okay, so now we know residential real estate is not going to double for another while. So now it's just a bearish market now in residential real estate, which is a good time to buy and hold long term. Bitcoin future looks bright. It's going to probably be bullish for 23 and 24. Why do we think so? SEC versus Coinbase. Bitcoin was not sued. SEC accept that Bitcoin is not a cryptocurrency. It's a commodity. Bitcoin also registered at the Chicago future, which means that it's credible. Bitcoin has value of $1.2 trillion. Bitcoin has a blockchain, which is a digital ledger, and Bitcoin has value. We can use it and pay people overseas. I'm in New York. I can pay somebody in another country with Bitcoin. Generation Z, they're cashless, and so they have to use a digital currency. They're trading with Bitcoin. Bitcoin receives the most hub PR from the federal government of the United States. So Bitcoin is valuable because it's also a threat. So that's another reason Bitcoin is valuable. The inflation is bad and people are running, and they bought Bitcoin instead of the US dollar. They didn't buy real estate because real estate was too high, but they bought, Bitcoin. Also, Bitcoin just crashed in 2022, which means it is at its low. And what's happened? When you are an investor, you buy low and you sell high, okay? Also, 130 countries are proposing, each country is proposing its own digital dollar. So that's going to give Bitcoin even more value. I'm Tisha Powell. Subscribe to learn more about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, digital asset, and real estate. We are US Business News. We cover nothing but money. See you real soon. Take care.